Group 4's presentation of Chapter 10, Enable Fast and Reliable Automated Testing by Joseph Spratling, Spencer Christensen, and Chase Bush. Have you ever been frustrated with a service you have paid for? Have you ever experienced frustrating bugs in a software program you rely on for work or school? I know I have in jobs in the past where programs would crash in the middle of a transaction with a customer, causing me to sweat and them to sit there for long periods of time and get more and more frustrated. This is not the experience we want to provide for our customers, and this is not the service us as developers want to release after spending days, weeks, and months of our time working on it and creating it. One thing we can do to avoid producing this quality of software is to continuously build and test and integrate our code and environments to avoid finding errors months after they've been created and building up a ridiculous amount of technical debt. One thing we can do is to continuously build tests and automate them. Next, build a fast and reliable automated validation test suite. So automation ensures things get done throughout the process and not skipped over or forgotten by developers. Some tasks that are tedious and time wasteful can be automated to save time and headache. Instead of our builds being tested every few months, they can be tested as soon as any changes are introduced. Automated tests that run within our build and test environments whenever a new change is introduced can catch our errors quickly and early on in the process so that we don't have a buildup of errors and technical debt towards the end of our production.
It is important to catch errors as early as we can by using automated testing. If we use automated testing, we can test without taking up manpower, and thus we can have our tests happen faster and sooner, which means we can catch errors sooner, which can save a lot of time in the end when we don't have to have an entire phase dedicated to finding and fixing errors if we just progressively fix them along the way. And automation can help us do that. I like to think of code editors like VS Code. I know this is a very simple error, but if we make a syntax error or a simple spelling mistake, the editor itself will tell you, hey, there's something wrong here, and we don't have to wait until we have already submitted or compiled our code and figured out that something went wrong and have to go clear back and figure out what happened. With automated tests, we can know very quickly what is going on so we can fix it without too much headache. We also need, if possible, to ensure that tests run quickly and, if possible, in parallel, which would be even faster. If we don't have to wait for each and every test to run one after the other, it could save a ton of time, especially for any larger companies that have, or any company that has a lot of tests to run. Google was mentioned in the textbook that they have hundreds of thousands of tests that run, and so I imagine if you can run at least many of them in parallel, it would make it significantly faster than running each and every one after the other.
We want to make as much of our tests run automatically that they do not have to wait on someone to manually run through and test each and every individual component. Rather, this helps us flag things and figure out what's wrong without spending the manpower and man-time to figure out where we went wrong in our code. So, in conclusion, we want to continuously build and perform tests and integrate these into our environments and practices. We want to build fast, reliable, and automated validation and testing suites. We want to catch errors as early as possible, and preferably with automated testing. We want to make sure that tests are proficient and efficient. And then we want to make automated tests for our code before we develop our code so that we can test the code as we're going, but also have it so that we do not have to worry about manually testing the code, but have it automatically test so that we can figure out errors as we're going through our code.
Hope you enjoyed our presentation of Chapter 10. Thanks for listening.